I had absolutely no intentions of doing this video until I realized I was at 999 videos, and I was like, screw it, well, let's just do this. Alright, so we're going to start off with raising chickens. I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks for raising chickens. We're doing literally everything today. So, if you want a little tip for raising chickens, here are a couple of them. So my first tip for raising chickens will be to don't overdo it, because overdoing raising chickens can lead to significant consequences. Chickens are one of the greatest ways you can start a farm or homestead, or for some of you guys you might call it a farmstead. I'm really sticking more towards the farm over here, you know. If you want to start one, chickens are one of the greatest opportunities for that, because they're fun, entertaining, and also lay eggs at a very significantly low cost. So if you want good eggs, chickens are definitely my recommendation for that. Also, for other chickens, another tip I gotta give you is you need to make sure you're feeding them, watering them, and giving them everything they could ever need daily, because if you don't, then your chickens aren't gonna really like it that much. And my final tip is keep roosters at your own cost, because if you don't keep roosters correctly, then they are going to turn against you. I'll say 9 times out of 10, or just about 90% of the time, roosters aren't really the greatest roosters ever. I have met some incredible roosters, though. There are some roosters I can walk right up, pet them, pick them up, and they'd be just fine with it. So yeah. Alright, so next we're going to talk about ducks. Now, ducks are one of the greatest opportunities for pest control, so here are my 3 tips on raising them. So, the first tip I gotta say, keep all food and water out of the coop overnight. It sounds stupid, but trust me, it is not at all stupid, because you need to make sure that their coop is not becoming moldy, because they'll just become a pain for you to clean. And we all hate coops that are impossible to clean, don't we all? Isn't that a common thing we can all agree on? Another thing is using them respectfully. You can't just put your duck in the garden and expect them to destroy the garden, expect them to destroy the entire pest population, because that won't happen in one day. So you need to make sure that you're using them properly, because if you're not like allowing them food, water, or even good shelter for that matter, then you're using them improperly. The last step I can possibly offer for you is to not provide anything additional. Ducks need the basic coop with nothing but shavings on the floor. Just a comfortable house, a comfortable yard, and a comfortable life. Certain ducks might weigh heavier, like Rowans are typically used for meat, but we raise her for eggs. Some ducks die earlier due to that, and other ducks die due to predation issues. But they're really good for keeping hawks out, so I would recommend that for you. Alright, so we're going to go on to gardening next. Gardening has basically been a pretty iconic part of this channel. Y'all love the gardening content, so I'll give you 3 quick little tips for gardening. The first tip I gotta tell you is you need to make sure you're adding the trellis, or I really want to call the semi-trellis, but it's not. That's not even a word, for the correct plants. So we have cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, and more cucumbers on this trellis. Cherry tomatoes grow up, same with cucumbers. You can sort of see these little, I really want to call those tassels, but they probably aren't. They sort of attach to the trellis, and which helps them grow up. Tomatoes can't really support themselves, unlike peppers and other plants, because they get so tall and so bulky they can't really support themselves. So the next tip I can offer for you for gardening is an irrigation system. I'm probably going to release another series this summer where I talk about irrigation systems, because basically this whole summer is just going to be sequels to every single video from last summer, basically. Irrigation systems are really useful for watering your garden. Each of them is on their separate system, though. I can't really explain how it works, because I have like a minute and a half to film each clip. So that's basically what I'm going to do, is just explain what it is. Each of them are on a separate system, and they each are watered for separate durations of time, depending on how much water they need per week. Most plants need about 1 to 3 inches of water per week, but strawberries need 1 to 3 inches of water per day. So yeah, some plants need more water than others do. Another tip I could also offer for you is to check your growing zone. It's such a basic tip that people forget, because growing zones are easily one of the more forgettable things about gardening. But I wish more people remember what a growing zone is. It's basically it's basically a zone that provides a list of plants that can be grown in your region. Alright, so let's talk about fruit trees. I'm a little bit less experienced with fruit trees, but I do know some of the stuff about them. So let me give you the 3 tips real quick for fruit trees. The first tip is refrigeration. Certain plants of these need to be refrigerated. Some range from a couple short hours to a couple short months. Apple seeds especially take, I believe, last time I grew them was a couple years ago, 2 months is what it had to be in the refrigerator for. The second tip I can offer for planting fruit trees is to fence them completely in. Now, deer can hop just about 6 to 9 feet in the air, so you need to make sure your fence can be able to be a bit taller than that. And also, deer can be able to fit through holes, so you need to make sure that the mesh is like really thin, so they can't fit through it, or else the deer will get into your garden and your garden will be gone overnight. Not a garden, fruit trees. And the final tip that I can give for you is to make sure that you test your soil. Certain fruit trees will not grow in certain types of soil, and fruit trees are way more pickier than gardens could have ever dreamed of being, because you see, gardens are very picky, but gardens will never dream of being as picky as certain types of fruit trees really are. So next up, we got maintaining property. So the first tip I can give you for maintaining property is keeping it as cut as possible. You make sure that your property is cut so you can walk through it. A tip I can give you if you're just starting to maintain your fields is to slowly but surely cut them. So you want to start by cutting a couple paths, then expand those paths, and then expand them until you have basically like a couple roads around the field. Then you want to conjoin those roads together at a certain point, and after no time your entire field will be cut. Do this for every field that you have, or you might just have one field. It's the easiest thing you can do, and the process isn't too long, I gotta say that. But yeah, we're doing hay up here. I'll talk about hay in a minute here, but you know, cutting your fields is the best thing you can do. And also, second tip I can give you is eradicate irrelevant plants. This is very hard to do, especially with horse nettle and other pokey plants. But if you don't want a type of plant on your farm, especially if they're like invasive, like bittersweet, and exterminate them. If you don't know how to exterminate them, you can call an exterminator. That's really good with this sort of stuff. The final tip is know the machinery you're using. This machinery is incredibly dangerous. So you need to make sure you know what the machinery is before you touch it. You want to go in there with experience. And I've never done this before, but I probably will in a couple of years. So go in there with experience and come out with enjoyment, not with injury. Keeping hay. One of the greatest things you could do, especially for horse farming. Oh, and by the way, we're not going to do cows and horses, because those are going to be for a later video when I finally get them. Probably either next year or the year after. Cows and horses need hay. So to be able to grow your own hay, you need sufficient plants. You don't want to cut your fields, and you want to start this in about April. And you want to continue this until just about maybe June or July. That's when the typical harvest goes. And you want to also make sure that you dry it out. So this is basically just a little harvesting tip here. Dry out the hay for a couple days. That way it doesn't catch fire in a barn. I have a whole video talking about how to bale them. So once you're done with all that, you can watch that video. It's going to be linked in the description. So yeah, I bet you if you want hay, this is one of the greatest things you could possibly stumble upon. Another thing that I can give you for hay is to exterminate irrelevant plants. Like I said in the last clip, you want to make sure that the plants that are on there are not going to be exterminating them. Horse nettle is the worst plant possible, because if a horse or cow or anything eats it, well, I don't think you're gonna have too many horses and cows after that, because those types of plants are known to kill livestock. Even just chickens in general, ducks, anything that eats hay will die if it has horse nettle in it. So I'd recommend researching ways to exterminate plants that could possibly end up killing livestock. The last and final tip I can give for you is to not touch the hay until it's ready for harvest. Just a little bit of a disturbance could possibly end up destroying the process. So trust the process. And finally, last tip of the day is going to be building buildings. Oh, we love little sheds, barns, everything really on our farm. It makes it look more of a farm than ever before. So here's some tips you need to know. Firstly, you need to research how many square feet of place you can have without getting a permit. Certain permits are needed for certain square footage or the usage of it, so research that. I don't have a lot of knowledge because it depends on which town you're in, so get that all sorted out. Next thing you want to go out and do is they want to go out and start work on the barn, but you want to make sure you're researching how to do it. You make sure you're researching how to build said building before you completely jump in with the building and start building it. So yeah, once you've done all the research that is necessary for building it, you want to go in, build it with all the trusses, plywood, T111 siding, roof shingles, and trusses that you need to be able to go in and build it. And finally, you need to make sure that it's sturdy. It's very easy to tell if it's sturdy or not. If it rocks in the light wind, then something's wrong with it. If roof flies off in really weak wind, then apply hurricane ties. You need to always make sure that you're up for criticism with these buildings. So yeah. The last couple of years have been insanely supportive on this channel. The first year on this channel, I did not do too much. I was not really committed to doing this. The second year, I was ultimately committed, so I ended up going from 100 videos. I only had 15 subscribers. By the time I reached 1,000 videos, I 10x that. I'm I'm just about ready to hit 2K. If we can hit 2K by the end of this week, which at the rate we're going is becoming a bit more possible, well then I thank you a lot for that. So I'll catch you all in a later video. Thank you for 1K videos. Thank you for the support on those 1K videos. I have a video of over 14,000 views, which never in 100,000 years I would think would ever come to occur. If you can get this video up to 1,000 views and 40 likes, I'll be very happy, and I'll even do 3 front flips in the pool this summer. Bye.